If you want to take your DIY skills up a rung, the Repcolite Home Improvement Show is here to give you a boost on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
And we're back, and Haley and I are in the studio with Natalie Kaman from At Home Design and Staging. Natalie, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, we're excited. You're actually a friend of Lauren Figueroa.
I am. She is a design friend who I met through my husband at a coffee shop.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, she's wonderful.
Yeah, she's been on the show multiple times, talked about a lot of different things. She's never been in the studio.
No, that's what's so funny.
Yeah, now you've got one up on her.
Yeah.
Or she's got one up on you, depending on perspective, I guess, as to how you feel about the experience. But let's talk about home staging. Last week we talked to some realtors, and we talked about just the state of the market, where things are at. And home staging is a much bigger deal than it was just a year ago.
Right, exactly.
And let's talk about your business. And I guess let's just start with an overview of kind of what you do, what kind of services do you offer, and then we'll go from there.
Thanks. So yes, I am a home stager. I've been in this industry for about 9 years now. I have my own company, At Home Design and Staging. And the reason I got into it wasn't just like, oh, this sounds awesome, I'm going to do this. But it was because my husband was in real estate investment.
Okay.
And we realized even when we were creating these brand new spaces and everything in the house was new, flooring, carpet, all the lighting, all the plumbing fixtures. When you walked into a vacant property, it just felt very cold. And so my husband said, we got to get a stager in here. And at that time, I was doing all the design work, but I was kind of aware of how the staging process worked. So I started reaching out to local furniture stores, and that's how the staging side of my business began. So,
Very cool.
so that's how the vacant part of the staging went. So that was about 9 years ago. And then after staging properties for my husband, then I started reaching out to realtors and letting them know I could also work with their homeowners to get their houses ready to sell. So whether it was vacant or whether it was occupied, I could help them to market their properties.
All right. So you do everything from vacant properties to people who just need maybe a little bit of help. So a huge range. What does the process look like? And I guess let's start with maybe like a vacant space.
Yeah.
What does that look like? Just walk us through that whole experience.
Yeah, so for vacants, it starts with somebody can go to my website and there's like 3 little lines in the corner. You click on that and it says get your quick quote. So they're going to give me information like where's the house list, where's the property address, when was it listed, what's the list price. We typically do 3 main rooms of the house, which would be the living room, the dining room, the owner's bedroom, and then we accessorize the entries, kitchens, and bathrooms.
Okay.
But sometimes they might have a home office on the main level, so they would add that to the quote. Sometimes they might have like a formal dining room plus an eating area, so they would add that to the quote. Or even if it's a very small bedroom and they're like, we really want to show people you can still fit a queen bed in here, or this would be a great nursery.
Right.
So they might add some additional spaces to the quote. So we typically within 48 hours get back to them on a price, and that price is for the first 45 days that the house is listed. And it includes us going to the property, so that would be the site visit, our design plan, and then it includes the professional movers delivering all the furniture. We set it up, we install it, and then it also includes the price of the movers coming back and us destaging the property.
All right.
How long do they have to sell it then? Once you put the furniture in, is there a time limit that you can keep the stuff there, or how does that work?
It's indefinite, Haley. It's theirs.
So the price includes the first 45 days, and after that we go monthly. So and a lot of times 45 days has been significant. The right amount of time for people to be able to find a buyer and then also maybe get through appraisals, because we do not want to remove all the staging prior to appraisals.
Sure.
So that needs to happen. And then when they have that closing date set and they're comfortable with it, then we take the furniture out of the house. But if they needed to keep it longer than that, we just go monthly after that. And then the price is reduced for the months afterwards.
So you're kind of renting the furniture month to month after that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you partner with local furniture shops to get the furniture? You just got a big attic full of all kinds of amazing stuff that you haul down?
That's a question everybody asks. So it did start with partnering with furniture stores, and it started with Tulsma's, and they were fabulous to work with. But at some point, not our company, but they also staged Parade of Homes. And with some of the builders that they were working with, things were coming back damaged. And so Richard Tulsma put the nix on the staging.
Okay.
So which makes perfect sense because there's a lot of high-end pieces out there, and just a small amount of damage could,
I mean,
not be worth it on their end.
Exactly.
So at that point, I had to decide, what am I going to do now? And so I started to purchase furniture wholesale. So we started by using the third stall in our garage, and then as things expanded, we now have 2 warehouses in Granville, and we can stage up to 9 houses at one time.
Wow. See, and I thought that was an idiotic question that I was going to get laughed at for. And look at that. It was a good question.
Absolutely.
Pretty good.
it'd be so fun to shop your own warehouse full of stuff. That sounds really satisfying to me. And it's a good excuse just to accumulate, honestly. I see so much that I would like to get, but I have no space for it. So to have this whole extra place where, I'll just have it in the warehouse.
See, I go through so much buyer's remorse every time I buy anything. I can't imagine buying more than I needed to. I would be a basket case. So that's a vacant space. I want to talk about, what the process looks like for somebody who's, just got all their stuff there. Yeah. And they're trying to make it look good. But I want to take a break right now. I think we're about at the end of the time that we've got. Can you hang with us over the break? And we'll hit all of that on the other side.
Absolutely.
All right. We'll be back in just a minute with Natalie Kaman from At Home Design and Staging, talking about, design and staging. Yeah, exactly. That's just ahead. Stay tuned. We're back, and Haley and I are in the studio with Natalie Kaman from At Home Design and Staging. Natalie, thanks for being here.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging out with us over the break.
Yeah, you're based in Grand Rapids. We didn't cover that in the very first segment, right?
Yeah, I'm out of Grand Rapids, but I do service the Lake Shore if needed as well.
All right. So last segment we talked about vacant homes, like parade homes, something like that. You said you've got enough furniture in a couple of different warehouses that you personally own,
yes.
Right? That you can outfit how many homes?
9 houses.
9 houses. So
it's so fun to
me. Options galore. That's for a vacant space or something like that. Let's talk about, just a regular situation. I'm going to put my house on the market. Yeah. I bring you in. What does that process look like for me?
Sure. Well, typically I'm being hired by a realtor because the realtors see the value in having a professional like me come in and maybe give some suggestions that they don't want to give to the homeowner.
Okay.
No, but actually...
It can be a little tricky.
Yes, but actually every house can use staging. Even if it's an interior designer who owns the house, houses are so personal, we don't actually see them through the buyer's eye. We don't notice everything. And
we get a little house blind, right?
Absolutely.
So even if I would look at my house and say, this is the pinnacle of what interior design can look like.
I'm sure it is.
No, I'm not saying that. Let's be honest. It's not that. But let's just say it was for the sake of argument. Even then, you're saying there's value in bringing in somebody else.
Absolutely.
And what is that value? I mean, where does it just come from me being blind to the fact that this is not the pinnacle? What do you bring extra?
Okay, well, I'll let you know.
I like that.
They're fighting words.
So when I go into a home, I sit down with the homeowner. We talk about the 5 Ds of staging.
Okay.
So the first one is depersonalizing. So we want to take down any family photos, any very taste-specific collections, religious art. Say you're a huge state fan, and that really shows. We don't want to offend Michigan fans. So we're going to remove any very taste-specific collections from the house.
So I completely get it. You said right off the bat before we got into this part that the realtors bring you in because they want you to say what they don't feel like saying. And one of those first things is you got to take down all the family pictures, all the religious stuff, and anything sports related. That really, wow, yeah, I mean, a knife to the heart right off the bat. That's the first D, depersonalize.
Yep.
I can only imagine what the next three are like.
Yep. So that's the depersonalizing. The next one is decluttering. So as you come into the home, we really want people to see the fixed assets of the home and not just our things. So if you have a fireplace, we want to make sure people can easily see that fireplace. That might be something on their wish list. Maybe somebody has updated countertops, but you really can't see them because they have so many small appliances or papers sitting on the counter. So all those things are part of the decluttering process. And when I come in, I'm giving the homeowner a typed out checklist on everything in their specific space that they should remove and also what they shouldn't remove.
Do you provide a box of Kleenex too to kind of weep my way through the... Listen, sir, we're going to just gut the home because that's the only way other people are going to like this. I like to demonstrate how many appliances my countertop can hold. See, I feel like that's a positive.
That's very interesting, Dan. Yeah. I think it's good you're not in home staging.
Yeah, it makes sense. So you get a typed list, so I can go back and revisit this after the initial emotions wear off.
Absolutely. So we are typing up a report while we're going through the house, and that's also emailed to yourself as well as the realtor. And we try to put it in prioritized order because sometimes we go into a house, they're like, we really got to get that garage cleaned out. Yeah. And I'm like, well, sir, I can't even walk in here because there's so many shoes in the entryway. So they say that that potential home buyers have an impression in the first 15 seconds when they walk into the space. So we want to make sure that that first 15 seconds is very impacting.
All right. Okay. So that's the second D. So depersonalize, declutter.
The next one is don't darken. So this is also something that sometimes people don't think about, but we want to make sure that the house is as light and bright as possible, especially for those photos that are going to be shown online. So we kind of want those to be Pinterest-worthy photos. And so we always have people open all the window treatments, so as much of that natural light is showing as possible. Sometimes we have people change out light bulbs. People are so excited about their energy-efficient light bulbs, but sometimes they're still just not bright enough for the space. So we go ahead and put on that we go ahead and tell them exactly which type of light bulbs they should be using for the space.
Cool. Yeah.
And then, too, if it's an older home, they might not have overhead lighting, so we sometimes say, okay, these are the table lamps we'd recommend you purchase. That maybe you need a floor lamp to light that corner. So we definitely don't want spaces to feel dark when people walk in. We want it to feel light, bright, welcoming, expansive.
That makes a lot of sense.
Could we rent those fixtures from you? Is that part of the process or not when I'm doing it myself? Is that if I've only got a vacant home?
Sure. Yep. That actually, we do only rent things to vacant homes for many reasons. That's a very common question, but for one of the reasons is because people might have pets. They might have kids. they probably do have pets and kids. Yeah. This is West Michigan. And they also might have different cooking odors or other odors going on in the home, which makes it
We've got odors. Yep. Well, they're not bad odor. Well, I guess they are sometimes, but... Yeah.
They're just odors.
They're odors, but yeah, I can see that lamp would be funky.
Yeah.
Can't have that back in the house. So I get it.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
But what we do is actually more cost effective because by the time we pack up something from our warehouse, deliver it over to a homeowner's home, install it in the home, come back, repack it up, bring it back to the warehouse, we just in our time alone, it probably is more than the cost of the item itself.
Sure.
So what we do, which is different from any other staging company in the area, is we create a Pinterest board for the exact items that we recommend homeowners purchase. So we might find you some table lamps on Amazon that could easily be shipped to your house and are very affordable.
Well, that makes it very easy.
Yeah, so we don't just say, like, put a lamp over there. We decide on the exact lamp, based on, the style of the home, maybe the right height for the home. Maybe it holds 2 light bulbs versus 1 light bulb. So we're giving people very specific action items that are very easy for them to do on their own.
All right. Very cool.
They've got a whole declutter checklist. They've got a whole checklist of lighting fixtures to get at the end. I mean, they've got a lot of information that you're leaving them that they're just doing on their own once.
Yes, and we've found that West Michigan people typically prefer that.
Yeah.
If there's something they can do on their own to save a couple bucks, they love it. So that's how it has worked out. And other very industrious places in other mega cities, sometimes people have more time than money or more money than time, and they would prefer somebody to do it for them. But in West Michigan, people will definitely appreciate being able to do things on their own, and if it saves them money.
Sense. I like saving money a lot. We're in the studio with Natalie Kaman from At Home Design and Staging. We're working through the 5 Ds of home staging. We've gone through, let me see if I remember, depersonalize, remove everything that's me from the house.
Yes.
We want to declutter.
Yes.
Still removing me from the house. And don't darken.
Yes.
Make sure that the space is nice and bright. What's the 4th D?
The 4th D is detail, meaning that if you wanted top dollar for your vehicle, you wouldn't just run it through the car wash, you'd have it detail cleaned. So if people are super busy depersonalizing and decluttering, then they usually will hire a professional cleaning company to come in and get all those baseboards, those ceiling fans, those bathroom fans, just to make sure that the house looks move-in ready.
Oh, yeah.
That makes a lot of sense, too.
I'm not ever going to list my house. That list of things right there just terrified me. Those are all things above my eye level. Well, not the baseboards. Those are below my eye level, but man, I can only imagine what those things look like.
No, yeah.
So bringing somebody in, do you have recommendations for that as well?
Yes. At the end of the report that we send the sellers and the realtors is a group of recommended contractors. So if somebody doesn't already use a house cleaner, then we give them somebody who would work well for them.
I like that because that could be really tough to try to, go through the phone book. Well, phone book. Is there anybody that's using
book?
I know, I'm old. I did. The yellow pages. We get out the yellow pages, and it's what I sit on at the table so I can reach the plate.
Shut
we
up.
use that for finding stuff. Yeah, so the Google. Yeah, at least I don't have to go cold and blind. I can find somebody from a recommended list. Haley, you'll recover from this. All right, the 5th D.
The 5th D is design, which is actually what I specialize in.
All right.
So like you mentioned, I do Parade of Homes, I do builder spec homes, but then I also help homeowners. So what I'm doing is I go through the space, I'm looking at it from the angles that the photographs will be taken and making sure that the furniture is arranged optimally for that space. So again, for instance, if a homeowner wants a fireplace in their new house, we don't want to have any furniture, any recliners covering that fireplace. We want to make sure that the furniture that's in the space can support the focal point in the room. We want to make sure there's at least 3-foot walkways throughout the house so that it doesn't feel tight as people tour the space. So that might mean removing extra pieces of furniture, like an extra console table that doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
Making sure, that dining room tables are centered underneath the chandeliers. Making sure that bedrooms have the bed's in the right location, because in a bedroom, the bed is the focal point. Typically, we want that across from the door that we enter on.
It's feng shui. We talked about this.
We want to make sure that it looks, the spaces look as spacious as possible, and also are easily tourable for the people that are coming in. And also on that Pinterest board, too, if there is no accents for those focal points, then we add those to a Pinterest board. I like to tell homeowners a story that, when I go to pick up everything from a parade home, one time I was picking up some stuff from a luxury home, and the builder said, "You know what, Natalie, I designed this floor plan. I picked out every cabinet. I picked out every hardware in the house. But you know what people ask me? Where did you get that wall clock? Where did you get that rug?" So we don't think that people are that interested in the accessories of a home, but actually they can also make people feel very at home when we have the right accessories and artwork in the space.
That's very funny.
So, yeah.
Wow. So if our listeners want to get in touch with you, if they're thinking about selling, they maybe have a vacant home, that part was really intriguing. Maybe they're just thinking about selling the house they're in and they want to get a leg up on the competition. How's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
So my website, which is athomedesignandstaging.com, right at the very top of the screen, it says book now, and then it'll drop down to the Occupied Home Staging Consult. So they can schedule me right then and there. Otherwise, too, they can ask their realtor if they work with a stager, and their realtor can get in touch with me and can schedule me as well. Otherwise, there's a phone number on there, too, and my email. But usually a lot of times I'll work with people and get scheduled before ever meeting or talking with them by just doing it online.
All right. If you're interested, we'll put links in the show notes. You can check that out. Natalie Cayman from At Home Design and Staging. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, thank you guys. It was very fun.
Well, Haley, that's going to do it. That's all the time we've got. We've got to send people out to do all the small business shopping that we're hoping.
Small Business Saturday.
Yeah, get out there. We've given you a list of presents and a list of all kinds of things that will make everybody's holiday better.
Not for us. Not presents for us. If you missed the first part of the show, they're not for us.
Well,
they're for you.
But they're for you to give to people that you love. But I think that we should be on some of those lists. And if you do want to get those gifts, if you want to get those gifts to us, you can drop them off at any Repcolite or Port City Paints. Just make Dan or Haley on the tag very, very visible, and we will get them. But get out there, do the shopping that you've got to do. Have a great day. Whatever else you have time for, I would try to work paint into it in some way or another. And if you want to do that, all of the Repcolite and Port City Paint stores are open until 3, waiting to help. I'm Dan Hansen.
I'm Haley Johnson. Thanks for listening.